Hi, it's Carla with the Double Duty Agent Podcast, and I am so excited you're here. Each week we get together and we explore the stories of successful double duty real estate agents. And from their stories, you can find the solutions to your challenges and the keys to unlocking your success. We've got an inspiring story today, so let's get started. I could not be more honored than to share with you today Miss Becky Gluff and her amazing story. She started as a double duty agent and went on to sell 32 homes in her very first year. This led her to transitioning to real estate full-time and also to creating her life by design. Wait till you hear that. So also, I am so privileged because Becky was actually my productivity coach when I first started. So I know she has so much wisdom to share with you today. She is the reason for my success. So stick around till the very end. We will have the keys to success from Becky's story. So let's jump in and get inspired. Well, I am so excited to have you, Becky Gluff, here with me today. This is going to be one of my favorites because you were my coach.
I was.
This is so cool. I don't know where I would be without you.
I
wouldn't be sitting here.
Oh, you would be. You had the drive.
But here's what I know. We're going to get to where your business is right now, which is that kind of that life by design thing. But I am so excited to hear your beginning of your real estate career because I realized that I don't even know where this story goes. I know where it ends. I don't know where it begins. So tell me a little bit about you getting your real estate license.
Yeah, I was actually 50 when I got my real estate license. I had multiple careers, been a missionary, worked at Intel. I was actually doing taxes. So that was only a 4-month a year job. Yeah. You basically worked from January to April, and then you were done. And I did volunteer work at church, and we moved from Indianapolis down to Franklin. And I found a girl who was my realtor, and I kept telling her, "Gosh, this seems like this would be a lot of fun. I think I would like this." But I did not know how to get my license, and I heard all these horror stories that, you're poor for 5 years, and it's hard to get clients, and so I was kind of scared, but she really just kind of walked me through how to get my license. And I was at a point because I'd moved. I had quit my other part-time job. I actually had a part-time job in Indianapolis. I quit that, so I had time to get my license. And I thought, well, I've always heard, again, I don't think it's true, but I'd always heard that real estate was slow in the winter months. I thought, okay, well, that works out perfect. I can work at H&R Block. January, February, March, it ends April 15th. Like April 15th is your last day. And so then I would do real estate, and I also was volunteering at church too, and that was really important to me. So it was I was probably a 30 to 40 hour a week commitment. So my goal was to sell real estate outside of that. But I had pretty flexible hours outside of the H&R Block time. So I got my license in 2012. In Franklin. I was in Franklin, which I didn't know anybody in Franklin. So all the people I knew were in Indianapolis. And I had a pretty big sphere. I went to a fairly large church. I was on the church plant team. I had volunteered at life centers. I was on a bowling league. So I kind of had a good sphere. And that's really where my first few clients came from, is just people I knew. And I did that from really that whole first tax season. And the problem with it is I could not be on the phone. You can't be doing somebody's tax and say, "Oh, just a minute, I need to answer the phone." Doesn't work. So I was very limited in that I had to let my clients know that I am available at, 4 o'clock through 9 o'clock or, 7 in the morning through 9 in the morning. I had set hours, and I just had to let my clients know that. And my goal, my first year in real estate, was to sell 6 homes.
Okay.
I sold 32.
Oh, 6. That's almost 6 times your goal.
Yeah. So I had wanted to supplement our income and just have vacation money. And that's what H&R Block was for. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the name, but that's where I worked. And then, so that only lasted really less than a year. I got my license in 2012. I worked 2013 at Block. I was selling 32 houses, and I thought I'm going to jump into this full time. My husband and I we ended up moving back to Indianapolis because that's where all my business was. And he had gotten a new job up in Fishers. So Franklin to Fishers was a really long way. Okay. So we only stayed in Franklin a year, moved back up to Indianapolis, and I was a full-time real estate. Most of my business, I would say about half, came from my sphere. And I feel like I had a real advantage because I was a little bit older, 50, 51. And so a lot of my friends had kids that were buying their first home. And so, and a lot of them were even starting to maybe get to, downsize a ranch home. Their kids were grown. So I had a lot of people that I knew that were moving. And then the other half is I found that I was really good at internet leads. And I would just follow up on those internet leads every morning. And that's kind of my dual career story of how I transitioned pretty quickly.
Let's unpack that a little bit. The first thing I heard was scheduling, right? So you had it while you were doing tax season, you had a schedule issue, right? You had certain hours that you had to be at work. And I heard that you communicated that with your clients. When you communicated that with your clients, how did that land with them?
I didn't know any different. I just knew that I couldn't answer the phone between, say, 9:30 and noon and between 1 and 4. So I didn't know that might be a problem, so it wasn't a problem.
Don't make it a problem. It's not going to be one.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I didn't even cross my mind that would be a problem.
So we closed 32 houses, having been upfront with our clients, saying, I'm not going to be able to take your calls between this time, between this time. And that worked out okay.
I did. Now I worked my tail off on the weekends and in the evenings. I worked a lot. But yeah, they knew that I could not. I had my voicemail, and I said I will be, replying to emails and voicemails after 4 o'clock today.
And everybody was okay with that.
They were okay with that.
You ever called your doctor and had your doctor say, "Oh, here, let me drop all my clients, and I'll take care of you right now"?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, we expect that. As agents, a lot of times we think, "Oh, we can't tell them we're not available. They won't think we're good." So I love that. Okay, so the other thing I heard you had a really pretty quick transition plan because you sold 32 houses and all of a sudden that part-time income wasn't necessary anymore. Right. So you transitioned pretty quickly.
I did, yeah. I only really worked probably for, 7-8 months once I got my license. I stopped in the end of April, and I got my license, I think, in October.
Okay. So just one season then?
One season.
But you still had your volunteer work and everything. You were still working around that as well. So scheduling was still important, time blocking?
Yeah, it was different because that was so much more flexible.
Okay.
But I definitely had time. I wanted to bowl, so I let my clients know I'm not available on Thursday nights because, again, you can't answer the phone when you're on a bowling league, bowling team. So I still had, and I don't work on Sundays, so I let them know Sundays are off and Thursday nights are off.
So boundaries. Set some boundaries. And you just explain those to your clients.
Right. Yeah. Again, I didn't know any different. I just knew this is not something I'm willing to give up. So they had to deal with it.
All right. So then I also heard you talking about your sphere. And just for everyone, sphere, that's just people you already knew. They already knew you, like you, and trust you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's about half of my business came from my sphere.
So that's your family, your friends, people you worked with in the past.
Yeah, really no family. I didn't have family here.
No family. Okay.
No. And but it was just people I knew. Like I said, I was pretty involved, and I volunteered at church. I volunteered at life centers. I was on a bowling league. So I just let everybody I know that I was a real estate agent.
Okay, so you weren't a secret agent.
Oh, not at all. No, I'm pretty loudmouthed. So I got out there, and I even had like a clipboard on my bowling team if you want tips on what to do. And I went down from team to team and had them sign up with their name, email, and phone number, and if they thought they might buy or sell in a year, and just went down every year. And, that's 60 people right there.
Very good. Okay, so sphere, and then that was 50%, and then the other 50%, that was the internet leads?
Internet leads, yeah. And that's where I felt like I was pretty successful at converting, very successful at converting internet leads. And the key to that is consistent follow-up.
Okay.
You don't give up after the first phone call or text or email. You don't even give up after the 10th call or text or email. I would call every single morning once I stopped working, my other job, I was working very hard. The first thing I did, as far as I would, have my devotions and get ready and brush my teeth, all that, I would actually stay in my pajamas and sit in my chair and follow up on all the internet leads. And sometimes it took me an hour, sometimes it took me 2 hours, sometimes it took me 15 minutes. I would say in general it took an hour or two, and I didn't get dressed until I was done, because once I got dressed, the temptation to go out and do this was too much for me. So
I hear a little personal hacking ourselves here. We know ourselves really well.
Yeah.
And we make it happen. I love that. Didn't get dressed. No dress. No.
I was wearing pajamas, but
no dress to leave. You were dressed to go outside.
I thought once I got ready to go outside, I know myself, and I knew I would get busy doing something. So my own self-discipline was, I'm not going to get ready until I've done all my lead follow-up. And so my tip on that is, whatever you do it consistently. If it's internet leads, you do it every morning. Again, not on Sundays, but 6 days a week. Every morning, that was the first thing I did.
Over time, over and over and over again. I might have learned that from you.
I
didn't do the internet leads. Mine was all open houses.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Do that same thing over and over again. All right, 32 homes your first year. Mm-hmm. Then what happens?
It was over 40 my second year. And then for the middle several years, an average of probably 50 to 70 in that for several years. And again, most of it was from Sphere. Now, I had a huge increase when I came to Keller Williams.
Okay.
I think it was 3 years that I was not. And so I was 32 homes, around 40 homes. And then I might have gotten to 50, or it might have hovered there, I think, for a couple of years. But when I came to Keller Williams, believe it or not, I had never had a database that I followed up with.
Now, what did you do with all that Sphere? They just fell out of the sky?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I didn't know what to do with them. I used Facebook, maybe.
Okay. Phone. Everybody's got a database. It's their phone, right?
I mean, I didn't follow up with them. I didn't know what to do. And as far as my clients that I'd served, I was turn and burn.
Oh, one and done.
Yeah, one and done. Never followed up with them. Never. I didn't even think I sent them a thank you note. I was just like, let's just get through this and move on to the next. And when I came to Keller Williams, I realized I was leaving a lot of money on the table. Mm. And just by putting people into a database and putting them on a systematic, really almost automatic follow-up, my production increased 60% that first year that I came.
It's amazing.
Just doing and I didn't even do everything that you're supposed to do, but just the putting them in a database and following up was huge. And then my business really, I never got below 60 again, up to 97.
I was going to say, we came so close. I remember to 100.
Yeah.
So, that happened somewhere a little bit into January, didn't it? You just had those few that went close to get you 100 in a year.
I got 97 closings. If I can only get 3 more, but I didn't.
Okay. Most of that time as a solo agent, yes?
Most of the time, for when I became the productivity coach, I went onto a team thinking that I could just do listings on the team and then do productivity coaching the rest of the time. Well, that's when the real estate market went crazy, and I was finding that I was really a good listing agent, and I really enjoyed doing that. So I was on a team for 2 years.
When you also had a team. I know when I first started, you had a team, and then you joined a team.
Yes, yes, I had a team. I had an admin and 2 to 3 buyer agents. And that's when I became the productivity coach. And I thought, I think I'm going to merge my team is really what I did is I merged my team with another team. And that lasted a couple of years. And then when I left, I was like, okay, now I'm starting my transition into retirement plan. So
that's that life by design.
My life by design.
Life by design. Yes. So you started when you were 50. And I did not realize. I started when I was 50. I didn't remember that as the connection. That's so fun. Although you didn't take it the way I did. I thought I was old and you thought you were experienced and advantaged.
Yes.
So that's very different there. Yeah. So you started at 50 and you started putting together a transition plan, kind of like life by design kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, again, I didn't even think of it until after I came to Keller Williams a few years. And I had all along, my husband's 7 years older. So half the year, he's actually 8 years older. So he retired. And I thought, I'm missing out on fun things while we're both healthy. We both can get out there and do things. So about 5 years ago, I decided to come up with a retirement plan, sort of. I don't know if it's necessarily all worked out yet, but we started going down to Florida in the winters. And
that small hurricane just kind of messed that retirement plan up a little.
Yeah, really. So we started going there. The first year we only stayed for a month just to see if we would like it. We did. We loved it. And so we've been doing that. I think it's either 5 or 6 years now. And as of last year, I do not work while I'm in Florida. And really for the last 3 years, I haven't done much while I'm in Florida. I refer it out to other agents. And I still have done decently, making a decent living just working 7 months of the year.
25% of a commission, even with the referral, 25% of a commission for a phone call is a pretty good return on your investment,
right?
Time-wise. So.
And I have everything now with Command. I have everything automated. So they get their neighborhood nurture, they get their birthday text, they get their. I do handwrite out 3 years of cards. So that's about the most manual thing I do. Everything else is
3 years
automated.
of cards.
Like handwritten cards when a buyer buys. I write out 3 years of,
anniversary,
home anniversary cards.
Home anniversary.
And I write them out all at once, and then I put them in a box, and I just pull them out at the beginning of every month and mail them.
Oh, kind of like a Gary in the box thing.
It is, yeah.
Awesome.
I've got 3 years of cards ready to mail.
Very cool. So Command, that is just the database at Keller Williams.
Yes.
So in case you're not a Keller Williams agent and you're listening to this, any database that you have most likely has some of the similar characteristics. The automated birthday messages, texting messages.
Right. I try to do both email and text so that, and again, it's all automated. And then anytime we have an event, then I will also, put that into the database that we're going to advertise this event, like a trunk or treat.
So a market center event, like for client events.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you get to leverage that. That's leverage. What other kind of leverage do you have in your business right now so that you can have this semi-retirement life by design plan?
I really don't have any.
No other leverage, just database?
It's just it's my database. Yes. I have stopped taking internet leads.
Okay.
I just am solely taking organic
what's coming
clients
your way
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's fine. That's all I want to do. My retirement plan was to retire at 62. Well, I'm 63 now.
Okay.
So I'm a year over that, and so I feel very good about just taking what comes to me naturally. I've worked very hard to get where I'm at, and I'm enjoying being able to
the fruits of all of that labor. Yeah, I love that. Well, I think everybody wants that in their lives. Now, do you see a day when you'll just be at Florida on the beach full time, or do you think you'll always be doing a little bit of this just as it comes to you?
Yeah, I think I'll probably always be doing a little bit of this. I don't want to say it's easy money, but it kind of is.
It's something that we do, and you can take it or leave it, right? If it comes to you and you're not in a place to handle it, then there are other agents that can do that work for and you can make it work. I think it's a beautiful career for
right. And I've done it I've had so many transactions that I feel like I'm experienced enough where it's not hard to take on a new challenge, and it plus keeps your mind sharp. So I'll probably always dabble in it a little bit. What I love now for this last really 2 years is I don't have to work if I don't want to. So if there's a time where I'm going to be busy, I can refer it out. If I'm here and I'm not busy, I can take it on.
And it's the same conversation I'm imagining that you used to have with your clients when you were dual career, which is this is when I'm available and this is when I can help you. And if not, I'll find somebody to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the talk when I have a client that maybe I'm in Florida and they're like, oh, my friend wants to buy a house. I'll have that initial conversation with them. I'm like, I will be here for you. I will answer any questions you have, but I want to make sure you get the best agent possible. And since I'm not physically there, I'm going to put you, or, recommend that this agent who I know I've worked with, he's awesome. I'll put you in contact with him. He'll keep in contact with me. And so you're actually going to get 2 agents. Instead of 1. And so I kind of make it a real positive, which it is a positive. And they do get 2 agents.
Yeah, they get all of your experience and all the things that you bring in, plus somebody to take care of them. So I love that as an option.
Yep.
All right, so you were a coach, and I know you had a huge influence in my world, but I know that you had that influence on a lot of people, and a lot of those people were double duty or dual career agents. Can you think of one or two things that really, if all double duty or dual career agents focused on, it would really make a difference in their world?
Yeah, I think for sure, we've mentioned it already, is do whatever you do it consistently. Stick to your schedule. Don't try one open house and go, open houses don't work for me. Do 20 open houses and then come back and let's talk about it. If you have not had one client in 20 open houses, it's probably you. Maybe not, but probably you. So whatever you do it consistently. Mine was, I focused on my database. So every single morning before I even really got ready for the day, I followed up with a database and I followed up with my internet leads. And I did that every single morning. I mean, I still do that really now. I'm not as consistent now because I don't have to be.
Right.
But yeah, that whatever you do, whatever it is, do it consistently. And if you stick to your schedule, and it's so easy, I think. I know when I was working, the temptation was to come home and be tired. And you are tired.
Yeah.
But I would reward myself. Okay, I know that I can't, eat supper until 6:00 because I would get home at 4, and the temptation is just to hang out and not do anything. So don't do that. Make yourself a schedule, stick to the schedule, and do your task. Whatever.
It's a job,
scheduling
right?
Open houses, whatever you're doing, your database, your open houses, your internet leads. I'm trying to think of other lead sources, but
what's your job, right?
It is
so
your
you have
job.
to figure out what your schedule is. What
Yeah.
are your hours for your real estate job, and then just work that job.
And the wonderful thing about being an agent is you do have flexibility. So there's that time shifting. If I want to be at my grandson's, he plays baseball and we don't live locally, but I get to watch him on this little app. Well, okay, if I'm going to do that on Saturday from 10 to 1, that means I have to replace that hour on a time when normally I would be working.
Yeah.
So you always replace and don't erase.
No erasing. Just
Nope,
move it,
replace.
replace it. Well, open house is a funny conversation for the two of us
I
to
know.
have. Not so much about you, but I think it's a funny story because you asked me, how about open houses? And I said, no.
Yep.
I said,
right away.
No. And then she said, great coaching question. Tell me more about that. And I said, I don't know. And I realized I had never been to an open
Right.
house. And so we worked up with a plan, and I went out that weekend and I went to 13 open houses.
Yeah.
And that's all it took to know that there was
Crazy.
nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. And didn't
And-
you list the house next door to the house that I had an open house where I trained you on?
Yes. Oh, that's a funny story. Yes. And not only that, that was my first listing appointment. I went on that listing appointment with you
Okay.
to watch you on that listing appointment. Then I held that as an open house, and the neighbors next door came, and I sold their house and helped
Yeah.
them buy their new house.
I was so excited for you. I'm like, look at that.
Yes. You may not remember, but we actually made an offer on the house that I held open first.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
Yeah. That was a funny thing, how that all worked out. But yeah, sometimes fear gets in the best of us. Do you have any
Absolutely.
advice other
Absolutely.
than what you've given me already about how to handle it when you feel afraid?
Talk to somebody. I would say just do it. I mean, just do it. But sometimes it is hard. And so I think if you can get a partner, like you came with me on my listing appointment, or go with somebody to the first open house, or go with somebody on, a buyer consultation, go with somebody to look at houses if you've not done that. So find somebody that you feel like you can learn from, which really is probably anybody.
Yeah.
And ask them if you can shadow them, go with them, ask them to maybe practice with you. I cannot tell you how many times my dog heard my listing presentation. I practiced that listing presentation until I could say it with my eyes closed. And I just practiced and practiced and practiced. I'm terrified, and when I'm in front of people, I'm not anymore. I used to be. But because I had practiced in the scripts and dialogues, I had practiced what I was going to say. I knew what I was going to say. I knew what objections were because I had, practice them, then it didn't make it quite so scary when I was in front of a real person. And actually, they were probably, I didn't need to be scared because they don't know what's going on. So I knew more than them anyway. But you forget that they don't know anything.
Yeah.
They don't do this for a living. They sell a house once every 7 to 10 years, probably, maybe 3 to 5, but they don't know So you don't have to be afraid. Don't let your mind, it's mindset. Don't let your mindset get ahead of you.
Yeah. Tell us stories, right? We tell ourselves stories. We think, oh, they're going to ask us a question and we're not going to know the answer.
Right.
And then they're going to think that we can't help them.
Right. Yeah. When the perfect answer is, that's a really good question. I will find out and get back to you.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly acceptable answer.
I would respect that. If somebody said
Absolutely.
that to me, I don't want them to make something up.
No, you don't want to make something up. So yeah, just ask questions. And really, when you're talking to a client, you want to ask questions.
Yeah.
Get to know them.
questions.
Find out what their goals are, what their needs are, what what they like, what they don't like. So asking a lot of questions is really easy.
Yeah. Well, then it's a relationship business, and that's what your business is built on now.
is.
All in is the relationships and the past clients that you've worked with, and I love that. All right. So, what's the future hold for Miss Becky?
Well, we talked a little bit about it. I do plan on spending my winters in Florida.
Okay.
We're gone for usually 5 months. Come back here and dabble in real estate for the other 7 months.
And bowl, I'm assuming. We're still bowling.
I still bowl, yes, but I
bowling.
moved it to Friday mornings because now my husband bowls with me.
Oh,
So-
very nice.
So I'm available on Thursday nights if anybody wants to buy.
Oh, there you go. She's got you covered for Thursday night. Well, that's a good point. So if it's summertime and they're looking for a referral in Indianapolis, tell me what areas would you like client referrals to come your way?
Well, I live on the south side, so
Okay.
I'm all about the
South side of
South side.
Indianapolis. Okay, and we'll put your contact information in the show
Awesome.
notes.
Yeah.
and that way you get some referrals.
That'd
All
be
right.
great.
You have any last minute bit of advice that question I should have asked you that I didn't?
Trying to think, we probably talked about most of it. I think especially for double duty agents, is you have an advantage in that you have some income coming in, while maybe a full-time agent doesn't. So take advantage of that. Don't feel like it's a negative. Feel like, wow, I have this income, and now I can spend maybe a little bit more on some needs, some marketing, some things that I need. So don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a positive. And be sure you just explain your criteria, expectations to your clients that, I'm available from this hour to this hour. And then check your email and phone every morning, every day at lunch, and right after work. So
Okay, just be
let people know.
consistent.
Be consistent.
Be consistent. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and all the inspiration today. I
You're very
appreciate
nice.
you.
Well, I appreciate you too. You were easy to coach.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. No, I think a coach needs to motivate, inspire, challenge, but the coachee has to be willing, and you were very willing.
You definitely inspired me and probably challenged me quite a bit too.
Definitely on open houses.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Becky, for taking the time to share your very inspiring story with all of us. It's time for our keys to success. From Becky's story, we can identify the choices, the action, and the mindset shifts that were required for her to achieve her success. And in Becky's choices, action, and mindset shifts that she shared with you, we can identify keys that resonate so that you can apply those keys and unlock your success. So let's dive in. Let's get started with choices. Some of the choices that I heard that Becky discussed with us, one of them is she chose not to give up after the first call or even the 10th call when she was following up with her leads. And she even told us that so often what agents do is they do something once or twice and they go, well, that didn't work. And then they move on to the next thing and then they move on to the next thing. And nothing ever quite sticks because they didn't give it enough time. So choose not to give up after the first call or even the 10th call, however many calls it takes. That's what you're going to be willing to do. Choose automated communication whenever you can. In the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and if you haven't read that, I highly recommend that you do. It's a book that was written by Gary Keller, Dave Jenks, and Jay Papasan. And it is not a Keller Williams book. It is a real estate book. They wrote that for the real estate industry. And in there, we learned that there's 3 pillars to any successful real estate business. And it is leads, it is leverage, and it is listings. And it's in that leverage piece. in the leverage piece that you have automated communication, and you're going to need a tool for that. Becky talked about the Keller Williams command program. So if you're at Keller Williams, definitely embrace your command. And if you're at another brokerage, then you just need to find or access the tools that you have that have the capability to give you automated communication. This is going to help you as a double duty agent. You need this leverage as much, if not more, than other real estate agents because you do not have the luxury of time on your side. And this automated communication system will help you stay top of mind with your database, even while you're at work, or even while you're sleeping, or even while you're on the beach, like Becky is. So choose automated communication when you can. And the last choice is living a life by design. Becky worked really hard to design her life by design. What is your life by design? What do you want your life to look like? Because you are in an industry in real estate where you can create that life by design. But you have to start with by choosing that you want to live the life that you design it. If you don't design your life, who is? Someone else is. So might as well choose to be yourself. You get to choose how you want to design your life. On actions, our keys to success today, actions, have set hours for real estate and let your clients know up front when you are available. You need to set boundaries and then you have to honor them. And we have limiting beliefs around this, thinking if we're not available for our client at every given moment, they will go find someone that is available. And that's just not true. And Becky talked a lot about how she set hours for her real estate and made sure she had time when she was double duty for her other job, when she wanted to do volunteer work, when she wanted to go bowling, when she wanted to go to the beach. She set hours for real estate and just let her clients know what they could expect from her. She set those boundaries and then she honored them. She also talked about action. She talked about building a database and following up with everyone. Could be those automated communications that we talked about under choice. She said to start with the people who already know you, like you, and trust you. A lot of her sphere, that's what we call that, a lot of her sphere came from her church. Where do you know people that already know you, like you, and trust you? Where are those people? And how can you get in contact with them? And also, mail home anniversary cards. She gave you a really great tip. After closing with your buyer, go ahead and fill out their 1 year, 2 year, 3 year home anniversary cards. Get them all ready, address and everything, and then put them in a monthly box. She kept a box, put them in a box so you know when it's time to mail them. Home anniversary cards. Great tip. Okay, mindset. Your keys to success under mindset. Whatever you do it consistently. You have to do the same thing. It's time on task over time. Do the activities that you choose for your business, do them consistently. She said to make follow up a priority. You actually have 5 job responsibilities as a real estate agent: lead generation and lead follow up. Practicing. You got to practice. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. And then you get to go on appointments and you get to negotiate contracts. But follow up, super important. Make it a priority and reward yourself. We have to reward ourselves. She also talked a little bit about knowing yourself and tricking yourself. She knew that if she got up and got dressed, she'd want to leave the house. So she got all of her calls done before she got in the shower and got ready so that she could leave the house. So knowing yourself, what will it take for you to be able to get your follow up as a priority? And then when you do your job, reward yourself. Find someone to partner up with and talk to them when things are challenging. And also find agents to learn from. That was some mindset from Becky. And practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect, not necessarily, but practice makes skilled, absolutely. I want you to think about your favorite sports team. What would it look like if they only showed up on game day having never practiced? Well, they probably wouldn't be your favorite sports team, huh? And the last mindset Becky talked about was being coachable. You need to be willing to run the plays and do the work. You need a coach. You need to be coachable, and that way you'll know what plays to run, and then you just have to be willing to do the work. So that's this week's keys to success. Which of those can you apply this week in your business? I am so excited you were able to join us today. I hope you found that story as inspiring as I did, and I hope you found a choice that you can make, an action that you could take, or a mindset shift that will help you unlock the keys to your success. Please subscribe to the Double Duty Agent podcast so you don't miss a single story. And if you know of another real estate agent who would benefit from the Double Duty Agent podcast, then please share. We would love to have them join us. And we will be looking forward to seeing you again next week.